So when we start to think about customer and how customer expectations are changing massively in the marketplace, I think it's one of the things that we do focus on a lot is that generational change. Now, we've always had generational change, right? We never really align with our parents or our grandparents, so we think they're a long way away from us. But actually, when it comes to business, that generational change has become much more important now. And Gen Z coming through, essentially digitally native. They haven't known a world without screens and digital screens, and yet they influence around about 40% of consumer spending worldwide. Now, there's a real problem here because we've seen this in some of our sort of communities. Is you've got execs who are 1 or 2 generations away from where their new customers are. And that can just feel like a huge chasm sometimes. And so, that ability for organizations to get closer to their customer and really understand them. I've heard so many organizations talk about being customer-centric. And yet, when you really press, and you start to have a good workshop about something, it's amazing how little the customer comes up in conversation. It's sort of conspicuous by its absence, should we say. But I'd love to hear about the sort of Formula One experience of customers and how that's changed.
So Adrian, your point about leadership teams often being 1 or 2 generations away from their customer base is actually part of the Formula One experience. And, I kind of represent that kind of older generation of leader within the sport. And no question, we began to see our industry going into decline in terms of certain customer bases. And we just weren't engaging with our younger audiences in the right way. And that has been completely reversed in the last 5 years. And the learnings of the last 5 years are that, you've got to differentiate your offering to customers. Now, that sounds pretty obvious until you think about it from a Formula One point of view, because our customers come in lots of different shapes and sizes. Of course, we have commercial sponsors, so these are corporate clients. Then we have our fan base, and our fan base, so the general public who we ultimately sell Formula One to in lots of different ways, be it media coverage, be it merchandise, be it tickets to go to races. The general public themselves are split into lots of demographic segments and age groupings. You mentioned Gen Z, for example. We literally had no idea how to reach those younger audiences. So we're talking about really not just Gen Z, but also Gen Alpha, children from the age of 10 up who we could engage with and get interested in Formula One. And a couple of things have really led to our transformation. One was, since 2017, really engaging with audiences through social media and through all the different types of social media channels. And of course, the channels do, as you go through different social media platforms, they appeal to different audiences. So I'm not just talking about kind of what you might call mainstream social media like Twitter or Instagram or Facebook. I'm talking about, for example, computer gaming streaming channels, such as Twitch, which have enabled our sport to really engage, and our corporate clients to really engage with young audiences. You then think about the fact that we're also selling the sport to media companies around the world, indeed to governments around the world, to host Formula One events. So we've got all these different groups of customers, and we have to create value for each and every one of them. So the Formula One experience of recent years is the rich opportunity that exists, but you've got to change your thinking. And for us, one of the strongest ways to do that was to empower younger members of our own team. So literally to look to the pipeline of talent coming into our businesses to help us to literally engage with their peer groups. So that in the case of Formula One, for example, you're seeing people in their 20s and 30s driving the strategy for the business in terms of engaging with customers who are in their 20s and 30s. Now, that shouldn't be rocket science, but I think for many businesses, there's still decision-making being made at a very senior level, which doesn't reflect where the customers need to be dealt with and where that differentiation across the customer bases has to take place. So our experience has been really quite remarkable in the last 5 years, and the sport as a result is seeing exponential growth as we engage correctly with those audiences across the different channels that they want to consume and interact with us.
I think it's also one of the things we talk about, and I know Formula One's had the same kind of experience, which is your customer is not just your customer. I remember working with some industries where their view of customer experience is we're no worse or better than our competitors. And it's interesting now that customers are now not judging you by your competitors. They're actually judging you by the best digital experiences and services that they're working with at the moment. And that might be Amazon, or might be Facebook, or might be Netflix, for example. And so even your customer, you might be working in a telco, for example, but your customer is basing the digital experience they're getting based on the best experience they get with Amazon, and they will draw assumptions based on that, which is really key. So the concept that your customer is not just your customer is a real key one for organisations to get hold of. And I think I don't know if you've got any stories on that one.
I mean, so this is a really fantastic point, and one that, again, for Formula One teams and Formula One as a world championship has been a real learning curve. So we used to effectively benchmark against our own previous iteration of whatever digital technologies we deployed, and there was lots of congratulating each other on the improvements that were being made to apps and to online experience. But as you say, customers aren't judging you on within the confines of your industry, not within motorsport in our case, not within even the sports sector. They're judging you on their overall digital experience. And again, one of the big changes in Formula One since 2017 is that because the sport was taken over by an American media and entertainment group, they have applied world-class digital strategies to Formula One, and that has, again, driven so much growth. So whether you engage with the Formula One app to get real-time data and timing, or to stream on F1 TV, or to engage with each of the teams through their YouTube channels, whatever way you want to do it, it's being delivered as a best-in-class offering. And we're competing, as you say, not against other motorsport organizations or within our industry. We're competing against, as you say, Netflix or Amazon or whatever other digital experience a consumer is having. So you really have to think, where are we benchmarking ourselves, and what are we trying to do here to give our customers the very best experience that they could possibly have when they engage with us.
For more information, please visit sullivanstanley.com/future business formula.